Hi everyone, this is TiiQuTalks. Today I'm joined in this 15th December session by Katerina Zalamova and Jinan Karameh, who are two fantastic women that I had the chance to meet in the Sustainability Tribe, who bring in this conversation two very different perspectives about how youth can be empowered within the cities of the future. So for those of you who don't know TiiQu Talks, this is a TiiQu initiative. The aim of the initiative is to enhance the skills that matter. And these two ladies definitely have skills that matter for a better future. So without any further delay, I invite you for all, of course, to check out what TiiQu is doing, especially in the context of skills that matter and mapping knowledge for the future. I leave the floor to Jinan Karameh, who will be talking about what she is doing currently with her Entrepeneur Academy in favor of youth. Thank you, Jinan. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Laura. Good day, everyone. It is my pleasure to be with you today talking about our youth, the leaders of change. While considering the fourth industrial revolution and its corresponding new jobs added to that, the inconvenient and unsustainable context the globe is witnessing, we are definitely in need for youth who are competent to lead the required change. Universally, the general goal of education is commonly creating a good citizen. While contemplating in the role of the good citizen, we realize that each citizen should be competent enough to live the fourth industrial revolution and to develop his or her nation sustainably at different levels, environmentally, socially, economically, and even politically. This role reflects the interconnectedness of education for sustainable development, ESD, with any education system in the world. Through my training experience in Entrepeneur Academy, I've encountered many misconceptions about ESD. Education for Sustainable Development is definitely not teaching about SDGs and sustainable development. It is mainly reinforcing prerequisite competencies that converge towards sustainability research and problem-solving competence as recognized in other literature on sustainability science and education. These competencies are system thinking competence, which is the ability to collectively analyze complex systems across different domains and across different scales. Anticipatory competence, which is the ability to collectively analyze, evaluate, and craft rich pictures that is based on acquired, sustainable, future-oriented knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Third, normative competence, which is the ability to collectively map, specify, apply, reconcile, and negotiate sustainability values and norms to collectively assess the unsustainability of current and or future states of systems and to collectively create and craft sustainability visions for these systems. Strategic competence, which is the ability to collectively design and implement interventions, the transitions, and the transformative governance strategies towards sustainability. And finally, collaboration competence, which is the ability to motivate, enable, and facilitate collaborative and participatory sustainability research and problem solving. Definitely, you will be asking me about digital competencies. It is along and across all these competencies. As a school principal and through Education for Sustainable Development implementation in Al-Manar Modern School, we set the profile of the active citizen who is prepared to be well knowledgeable with a deep understanding of sustainable norms and values, a critical thinker who can evaluate the context based on the SD norms, a good researcher who is able to collect valid and reliable data, an innovator, problem solver, social entrepreneur who can create sustainable solutions, model them, and have project management and digital skills to implement in real world, and a value-based leader who is in a regular self-reflection and evaluation, striving for greater self-awareness and can influence others plan strategically, and do effective partnerships for implementing sustainable solutions and developing awareness campaigns. Knowing that this cannot be reached without reinforcing students' well-being, we adopted social emotional learning competencies across addressed by CASTLE: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making skills. Having set our vision, planning for its implementation has started. We have set a clear policy where structures, practices, and even consequences are explicit and well articulated with ESD values and norms. We adopted understanding by design approach to design our unit plans based on the social, economic, environmental, and even political happenings to equip learners with all their needs to overcome the current context at different levels and to find solutions for them. The unit plans definitely involved inquiry-based instructional designs with most effective technologies, problem-oriented performance tasks or projects including STEM, learning activities that deepen students' understandings, uncover perspectives, develop empathy, and reinforce 21st century skills, and authentic action-oriented assessments that don't only measure students' knowledge and skills, but they as well measure their attitudes through their decision-making processes and personal reactions towards the context. A genuine entrepreneurship course for secondary classes has been developed where students translate their sustainable models into business plans by the end of the academic year. And through exhibitions, they present their solutions to potential investors. Through this course, we partner with two NGOs, Injaz and Riyada, to reinforce students' integration of SDGs and digital literacy into their business plans and to provide them with more chances to expose their projects nationally and internationally through competitions. A life skills course was developed to middle school students where value-based leadership, emotional intelligence, and agency are reinforced through various activities and discussions. Consequently, we've induced a multidisciplinary ESD approach where all subject teachers are dealing with the same context, but from their subject's perspectives. We've started coaching sessions with low-achieving students to help them set their goals, to develop and reinforce different executive function skills to master their learning journey. A student e-magazine for high school students was launched. It is considered as a platform to have their voice heard. As well, a student council is in the process of development during this academic year. This process has started with an awareness discussion in partnership with an advanced Democracy for Sustainable Peace NGO. The discussion about effective electoral systems was held with our high school students, and this has been followed by a new step, which is training a group of high school students to develop the most convenient school electoral system for the development of their student council. In addition to that, a school community service has been launched with high school students, where in specific sessions, they design different fun and purposeful activities to perform with elementary students, reinforcing values and well-being. We developed a customized homeroom program where homeroom teachers reinforce a positive and clear classroom environment where justice and rule of law prevail. This program orients homeroom teachers for K-6 classes to deliver an interactive SEL, social emotional learning lesson each week and collect data and share it with the administration. This system reinforces parents' partnership and involvement, where the program coordinator meets the parents with different experts and share with them the SEL theme address and practical tips to be done at home to support students' well-being based on the data collected. As well, we partnered with Transformation Lebanon Initiative, where we got introduced to the Global Priority Solutions values and the John Maxwell Roundtable strategy to reinforce value-based leadership that ignites the self-evaluation of daily practices of values. This simple but great tool ignites the self-evaluation of daily practices of values of connection, listening, restraint, self-esteem, forgiveness, hope, multiplication, integrity, compassion, and much more. We were pioneers in initiating 3 clubs at school, one for students, one for alumni students, and one for parents, where we started reinforcing the values within the whole school community. Now, this program is integrated into our middle and secondary classes and in the neighborhood school for learning difficulties and special needs whom we support to replicate our experience. Now, I guess you are wondering how, as a school principal, I'm evaluating our implementation of transformative education and what my success indicators are. I will give you some very simple examples. Last week, our high school students not last week, several weeks ago, they celebrated the National Independence Day by developing an awareness campaign to lower class students, reinforcing good governance and anti-corruption. Second example, during her school community service in grade 2, one of our high school students observed a bullying issue. So she shared a story about a girl who was bullied, and as a result, the girl who was really bullied in class was welcomed by her classmates. Our grade 10 student represented Lebanese youth in COP26 through her virtual speech to policymakers, convincing them about having solutions for climate change. And recently, our school has been honored with the prestigious Climate Action Project School of Excellence Award 2021-2022 because of the intense work on climate education in a whole school approach. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. I have a number of questions for you, but I think that we close the interventions and then we move to the Q&A as a second step. So thank you very much again, Jinan. I would give the floor to Katerina, who will offer a completely different perspective, but probably drilling to the same conclusion. Thank you very much, Katerina, for being with us. If you can briefly introduce yourself, because the first intervention by Jinan was very much around education. You offer a more tech perspective. It's better to make an introduction and explain what you are working on and why education and youth can be a fit in your work.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here in these talks, and I hope the audience is enjoying. In the end, I will share some slides to present our work. I am Katerina Zalamova.
Yeah, we see very well.
Just a little bit here, and this. And I'm a founder and CEO of Crea. It's a think tank for advanced cities. And we work in the smart city market, engaging with municipalities and public administration for this digital transformation of infrastructures on a large scale of our cities as a physical infrastructure, the cities, but also as a communities that we are living in. And our mission is to do for our place to live to be a unique, not only smart, but really unique city, municipality, village. Nowadays, this year we celebrated 7 years of being on the market. We have a large consultancy portfolio because when we started, the market doesn't exist. It was just a buzzword, and there wasn't really implementation of this digital transformation of the municipalities. And we do a lot of innovation and research work as a think tank. We are always trying to test the ideas and to seek for what is the trends for the next years, because cities, it's something that it's not built overnight and it should stay for years to come, as a minimum 50, 100 years or more. So we are trying to make our best to understand what future can be. And lastly, we want also all these beautiful ideas to materialize in our life and really impact the life of the citizens. So we are also trying to be a technological integrator, helping the businesses to understand the market and really implement the technology successfully on a large scale. We are a member of the European AI Alliance, and we are advocating for in the law creation and the new directive of the AI technologies for the European market. And we have been a large contributor to the European Innovation Partnership Smart Cities and Communities. We have an international expert circle covering different areas from technologies to business in different groups of discussions. All our experts are people really passionate about smart cities, passionate about the technological trends, the evolution of society, the evolution of economy. And we build the circle around this, having our meetings and our talks around the future. No? And then today I want to speak about our first concept. This was the concept that we first entered in the market in 2015, called Smart Village. We found that the cities in this moment were struggling with the complexity of the megapolises. Large cities from, 20 millions of people, it's with a lot of kilometers. If you take Moscow, for example, from point to point, it's 800 kilometers, one city. This is really incredible size of territory that's covered and that it's recognized as a unit, as a municipality. And this complexity was really a huge barrier for real implementation of the technology and for real action. And walking on walking on the streets when I am in Barcelona, I am in this moment speaking from Barcelona, and in Barcelona it's very clear, and you can see it in many cities, in Paris, in London, in New York, that different neighborhoods, they have totally different personalities, if you want. And you can think that in the end, the cities, the megapolises, they are families of villages. So we were starting to develop this concept of smart village, not as a concept for small municipalities and villages, that it can be very easily adopted for small municipalities, but more as a concept to break the city complexity of the mega cities and to a little bit structure it, the implementation of the digital transformation of these conglomerates of people and physical infrastructure. Through this concept, when you start to understand the neighborhoods as themselves, as a unit, you can attend better the cultural and identity perspectives in different neighborhoods. You can better create community-centered designs of the infrastructures, because now you recognize that there is different communities and different needs between different neighborhoods. So it's not necessary the approach that you have taught for whole full city, for example, Moscow with these 800 kilometers, maybe it's very difficult to attend from point to point all the communities with one unique vision. But if you drop it on a neighborhood, then you can be better community centered and organized around the culture there. And also it's help you to structure the relationships in the neighborhoods, inside of them and outside of them, and understand better how they connect to this bigger city, to this mega city. And for example, if you go to São Paulo, you really can experience this village way of city, because it's so huge. Then people just close in their neighborhoods and live their daily life inside of the neighborhood, and rarely travel to the near one or free neighborhoods more there, because it's really, I don't know, maybe to go to the zoo from the business neighborhood of São Paulo, you need to travel 20-30 kilometers. It's really far away. And then when you have this detailed attendance on the communities, on the culture of each neighborhood, you can improve easily your communication with the citizens and improve your citizen engagement. So in the end, you can bring everybody in these mega cities to understand your vision and to become proud for this digital transformation and to adopt it. Because nowadays, there was many cities, especially in China, that were building smart cities from the ground. No, they wasn't really transforming. They directly built digital cities, and you can see there that Without knowing exactly the impact of technologies, you can see how the technology, it's really neutral, but later, depending on the design of the implementation, it can impact the life in one direction or the another direction and limited some freedoms of the people. And then, of course, in our case, we are very focused on developing local economy. And in our case, impact-oriented local economy, the meaning is that you really empower your citizens and you build on, you quantize and you can measure your actions against different type of impacts. In our case, in our experts groups, we are building on the experience of the carbon credits and this quantification of the environmental impact and building these financial markets for the conversion of the environmental impact with the climate change to economic metrics. We take this idea and we develop different economic models to monetize social impact, to recognize preservation of nature, conservation and biodiversity as impact. And we dream that tomorrow a legacy can be counted as an impact, and everybody that is dreaming to let solutions or knowledge or whatever for 100 years from now, it can be a financial asset, an economic asset. So to us, impact-oriented economy in general means that you really put the value of the society, the culture, accounting inside of your economic models. So today the world has this macro framework of the development goals of ONU. And here we want to show an example how in this macro framework of the Sustainable Development Goals, you can design a unique brand for your municipality. In this case, here the example is a digital city. And this digital city or digital village, maybe your neighborhood, in this case, we select a few of these goals to be attended inside of this brand as a macro framework. And the brand is, as objectives, is put into the projects later on that will be developed in the ground to bring this municipality or this neighborhood or this community to become leader in these digital economies, to become resilient towards change because of this diversification in space. I mean, digital, it's another space to the physical. So if you become skilled and proud and utilizing this virtual space, that is, you expand yourself and your opportunities, so you improve your resilience against change. And this can build a thriving daily life without hindering the physical life if you really use your digital life to help you to, for example, to free time to have more in the nature and not staying on the computer, for example. Of course, there is different designs, but if this is the criteria of the brand, you can accomplish with different designs. And to us, in this case of design of the brand, we put to have the community as digital city to use all this technology to secure water and food supply and to minimize waste as much as possible. And to us, no waste means also no waste in data, no waste in the digital, no waste in the sensors. When you have this as a concept, then you really optimize and improve your development of the infrastructures. So to us, creating a smart city project is starting from this unique brand of the community, municipality, or neighborhood, that with this brand, with these objectives, what I want to be tomorrow, it's putting the macro framework for selecting what type of infrastructures I need, what type of actions, and how to orient it. For us, the layers in a city are the physical, the digital, but also social infrastructures, meaning different communities, education, different places for people to network and build their relationships. And the economical infrastructure is the selection of different industries that the economical flow can intercommunicate with the other three layers. And here for this brand, I decided to show a little bit our vision for future of work. In this case, the implementation focus for creation employment for our digital city. It's really as a brand that we want to become this digital cities to improve the digital skills of all my population by 10 times. And because with this, I can easily be recognized as a digital city because everybody understands the digital world. And with this, I can create in this virtual space employment for 80% of the population, because if I have any unemployment, surely I can skill these people for the virtual space that in this moment it's not there. And today, the main economies that are really the economies of the future, it's the circular economy, the virtual, the data, and we're speaking about independent robotics. This is something that will start to become a buzzword. We're expecting the next 2 years that will really become to impact us as a society. And if we have time, maybe we can discuss a little bit. And the smart cities, to us, it's really a huge market that needs a lot of employment because the infrastructures needs maintenance. So here is where young people really have their future secured, because there is a lot to be done. And this is where cities really need to integrate and to get more the young to participate in these designs of themselves. The new industries nowadays, mainly the new industry that will impact us in the next few decades, are the drone industries, because our drone is something that we are still not grasping really the impact of this technology. But this will be something that from AI will assist us in many, many different ways. And it's not only how to say military industry that can be threatening our lives, but it can defend us, it can work for us, and from the distance. And you can think about the butterflies, for example, and quite a lot of usage. And then lastly, it can be a mobility. I really love the project of the Airbus about their compact multimodal vehicle, that it's a car, it's for a train, and also it's a drone. It's flying. Then, as I say, independent robotics is coming really as a trend. So everything related to automated machines will be one of the biggest thriving and developing industries. And nowadays in YouTube, you can see a lot of startups that are developing humanoid robots, and they're improving day by day quite faster. And in our case, we really think a circular 3D manufacturing, meaning that you have the 3D printers, like distributed manufacturing on a local scale, giving, we really distribute the global supply chain, because nowadays there is a lot of political struggle if we have only all the manufacturing in one place in the world. And now for the resilience of any size of municipality or community, you need to secure your manufacturing, your supply to be local. And 3D machines as an industry, as a technology, it's something that it's one of the trends that will really change the way how we produce our objects. And lastly, we have the last 10 years, we are under graphene as a new material. This material really will embrace the future with the properties that it has as a new materials. We are still not really grasping the impact that this material will have in our lives. And today it's already demonstrating constructions. There is testing a lot of research done in electrical materials. And and it's already implemented in real retail as helmets, as clothing, as toys. It's already there in the plastic, for example, for more durability. So innovation, we really believe that it's these trends that will impact, and the young people should really bring and embrace their skills in this direction. about graphene, about nanotechnology. The nanotechnology, it's a huge term itself, but what we really believe that it's providing important impact on our society will be the raw material recovering from any source. In this moment, we have a lot of pollution, and we really believe that recollecting on a nanoscale different metals, this pollution, cleaning the ocean from all the materials that we have there, will be the next trend in the next 50 years to come, because we cannot go with mining. And then everything with recycling technologies, that there will be a continuous swoop of manufacturing. There will be not any waste in general. There is a huge need of innovation in data, because this virtual world is growing, and we need to improve a lot our understanding about the relationship between this abstract space that we are opening to its connection to the physical. So this is through the data, how we treat it and where we keep it. And because of this opening of the virtual space, we will start to speak, and now with the metaverse, we will start more to speak about virtual citizenship. And there is a specific trend that people are disengaging from nationalities. And we are going to this a new type of citizenship in this abstract space to connect to tribes, to culture, and not really related to land. And of course, the impacting economy, as I say, will start to monetize more and more value in different ways to package and independence machines. So here I will open our conversation about how the youth will participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katerina. It was a full immersion into smart cities and what the future will be like for our youth. But still, well, you both talked about how the skill at which young people needs to be prepared. However, people like you, Jinan, who work in contexts that are definitely very, very hard and challenged by lots of factors. How do you see the future? I mean, I understand what you're doing, but it looks like something that can be done in a context that is safe and quiet and reasonably peaceful. It doesn't seem you are exactly there. So can you tell me the challenges that you encounter, how you manage them, and how you succeed basically to deliver your dream to yourself, but to the others? Because otherwise what we have seen with Katerina will never happen, because young people will not be prepared to get there with the right skills, and in any case probably the context will not be able to put it up.
Thank you for the question, Laura, and thank you, Katerina, for this very comprehensive presentation. Thank you so much. In fact, whenever we specify the vision, what we want, the vision is not from only high-tech technological perspectives and from the world perspectives. No, it is from the national perspectives where we are standing, and we, with all the considering all the challenges what we have around, we know that this child or young person, he is facing all these challenges. However, what do I need to give or to prepare in order to make him an autonomous learner who's able to grasp the information from everywhere, not only from school, even if he doesn't have the basic infrastructure? So how could I instill within him the skills to protect himself, to be always in a motivational attitude, growth mindset, not to be depressed, not to run away, challenge himself, solve the problems, be always open-minded in order to and motivated to solve the national context, not only to run away and blame others about the context that he or she is living. So this is very important, and whenever we set this into the vision of education, and I'm a private sector school, that's why I can modify my curriculum based on my vision. That is not very different from the vision of the nation. However, based on the expertise that me and my team are having, we can do modification and follow up based on what we are planning to. So that's why we made the vision, we put the process, we set the process, and we start. And I started training my teachers, and I would like to greet my teachers and the whole team members, because they are doing great job with this context that we are facing. They are not getting their, let's say, the salaries that they are expecting to just live along in our days, to have our basic needs to live. However, we have like our vision really to be beside our students, because we know that these students are the base of the development of this nation, so we cannot let it go. So that's why we have these skills and competencies that are not relevant to technology, only technology. They need, for example, when I mention about normative competence, they need to know the norms. They need to find what is normal, what is not normal, based on the consequences of every context they are living through. The anticipatory competence, they need to anticipate and predict what are the problems if I decide, for example, to do burn fossil fuel. So they need to know that after several years, it's not about living in these days. We need to predict after several years what's going to happen, and we need to find a strategy, a system thinking strategy, not a solution that solves this problem and it will make a problem for another system. For example, here in Lebanon, they want to treat garbage by incinerations, by burning, and this doesn't fit here, because most of our garbage is organic. So this is not system thinking, and this was based on policies. So the student must be competent, must be equipped in order to evaluate, even if policymakers are giving this suggestion, is it right? So this equipping them, these competencies are very, very important to let them live this context that we are all living in, and to evaluate things based on their critical thinking. They can give strategies, they can believe in themselves, that they can, even in their context as youngsters, they can lead a change. They have the values to do this, they can communicate very well, and having all these competencies and putting them in the context.
Jinan, I do perfectly understand that, but I needed to understand you in the context or in such a context like Lebanon, with probably resources that are not exactly falling down from the sky, and probably huge technical problems like telecommunication, connectivity, something that for us is absolutely logical. How can you? It's fine. You have fantastic teachers that gives a very good principle to guys, etc. But in a context that is complicated, how could you jungle? And Katerina, I invite you to offer a proposal to a challenge like that, because I'm under the impression, Katerina, that without connectivity, your fantastic smart cities would not exist. So only Jinan good faith would make something for the youth. Katerina, I'm sorry. This is not nice on my side.
Maybe then I can start and then I can continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, definitely. I just mentioned, definitely these inconveniences, we need to find alternatives, and alternatives are not digital, are not based on technology, because we don't have enough infrastructure. So it's based on different contexts, on different situations, in order to give them these competencies. When we were in quarantine, we had online classes and synchronous classes, and sometimes I made my student meet some people who are really motivational speakers in order to stay motivated and stay in a good well-being to keep up living these situations, and with let's say open-mindedness in order to find the solutions that I'm putting them in the context that I'm putting them. However, nowadays things are getting more and more complex, and although we are doing lots of planning, we don't have long-term planning, because we can only judge from now to next week what's going to happen. What we can't tell in the future weeks what will happen. So this is very, very depressing to us as educational leaders. However, we still have like faith that whenever we are living, we can do something.
Katerina, we hope that you have a solution, because here, I mean, faith is a nice thing to have. Is probably the most important thing to have, because if you don't have faith in yourself, you're lost forever. However, some technology can make life much better.
My observation is that nowadays our world is divided. We have really a digital gap, that it's not only by countries, nations on the economical struggle, but also inside of developed countries. You know, if you think about United States, about Europe, there is a huge digital divide because of lack of funds and infrastructure to the small municipalities.
Sorry, I interrupt you just to say that even in cities like London, or you hire guys maybe that live, I don't know, in not in the city, or do not experience the level, the standard, the average standard of living in London. I can tell you it's very, very hard to get them in the box for lack of connectivity, for example, or right tools. So I want to say we are talking about smart cities, which is a fantastic dream. I love it. However, we have a problem of infrastructure that is huge. Without looking at Jinan, who lives in a very challenging context, but a little bit aside, not the entire. But even in modern cities, we have huge difficulties in getting something that could eventually let us think of smart cities. What do you think?
Yes, the thing is that up to today, traditionally, infrastructures were understood as centralized service provision. You know, one group of few people, one company will provide the service for many. This was because of the technological development. It wasn't another way around. This is the first it's happening with the electricity cable. No, it was the only way to do it. No, to have one centralized production plant and then distribute it to many houses. But today, our knowledge is so much advanced that it's not already necessity of this. But what we are facing today, it's lack of knowledge of these municipalities of the rural areas. There is not enough capacity, human capacity, to understand and to make the better selection of the technologies. What I want to say, it's not that you can buy it. You need to skill yourself to do it by yourself. It's learning by doing. In this moment, we really try, because there is no time now to do academical education. I don't have time to educate on a scale the people that I need to educate of all ages to get to this transformation. So we really start to practice really heavily learning by doing. You have this problem. Try by yourself, really with a wood stick and on the sand, draw for yourself the future and the technology that you will need, with some storytelling that I can tell you, you know. And then a little by little, you can get to this deeper technical specialization of engineering, and you find a way to raise the funds and to raise the capacity and stuff. And everything is starting to us nowadays. Now in this moment, we're starting to engage in a watch where we have already put on place the vision for Africa, and we're preparing a watch infrastructure projects there. And there you really have the same problem as Lebanon, that on rural, the people, they don't have any possibilities to get to the level of United States, of the youngsters and the universities there and all these connected young people that have everything easy, no? So in our case, we are really focused on education to get the skills of employment, because this infrastructure needs maintenance. Whatever I can buy the technology, if my people don't understand to break on Lego pieces and break it down, they cannot maintain it. And this is how we can really impact and boost the education further. I have small children, so I have one, it's 9 years old, another, it's 11 years old. And with the bigger one, we started 5 years ago, he was around 5, to think and develop the concept of a robot to clean our streets, because I was very depressed of the service that we have in our neighborhood. And we really do it with what we have in home, you know, really with normal materials. You don't need really to teach up to university. I mean, maybe 15 years you can start to teach real engineering and put the real thing. But up to 15, it's more about the thinking, about the visualization of your head, about the storytelling, to bring really the words, the power of words, to this imagination, to communicate yourself in a materialization. And then when they have 15, from 15, they have already the brain, it's ready to start to go to deep engineering to prototype it. So now it's my bigger one, they were 7 when they invite me to speak about, I'm a physicist. So they pick a project about black holes. And the teacher there say, I need help. I don't know anything about black holes. What to do with these guys? And I said, I'm a physicist. I will come to help. And it was a really interesting conversation, because they were curious. The children are very curious. So to me, nowadays, the real way to jump over the lack of funds, lack of infrastructure, is to engage the community, everybody, to teach the children as it was in the past. In the past, before the school, the children was raised in any skills through all the community. You have somebody it's building a house, the children are playing there, learning some skills. You have somebody it's cooking, they're learning some skills. And I think we need really to involve the families and invite the professionals, the businesses around the school to come and give classes. I think it's too much of a burden just to give all the responsibility to the teachers in the school, because they are humans. They cannot be experts in all the fields. And if we really want to get them, the children, to see the world out there and to start to dream themselves. And because to me, early education, high school, it's just to make you dream for you what you want to be tomorrow. No? And this, you don't need too much of resources to give this the community, you know. And in Lebanon, I think the challenge that the children understand very well their reality. And I'm sure if they have more sincere conversations in a community manner, they can build this resilience of the community as an infrastructure itself, as a social infrastructure that later can create this attraction of material funds and start to materialize in what is needed as a digital infrastructures and stuff. But to me, everything is happening from the social. Social, it's the middle between the economy and the physical, no?
It's absolutely true. We desperately need skills, and the skills that matter, and skills that think in a sustainable way. So education is absolutely key. I love the concept of villages within smart cities, or enabling smart cities. It's very, very close to what we are doing with the TiiQu. The idea of tribes come from there. In the past, ancient populations were gathered in tribes, because that was the human way for preserving from risk and ask to the collectivity what eventually they could not do for themselves, and it drills very well down. I remember here in the UK, I was very astonished when it came the COVID. And of course, there was the anxiety, and everyone had to stay at home, etc., etc. There was some kind of natural development of one or two people within each quarter, each district, who knocked at the door asking, do you need anything? You maybe needed to stay at home. I can buy stuff for you, etc. So I'm sure that communities can be the solution for building that resilience that otherwise would be harder to be obtained, and is also the solution probably for larger and richer communities where eventually there is everything, but it appears that cities struggle in fighting risk of violence, for example, or exclusion. And so in communities, they can find certainly the way to solve. Now, point is we need a skill. We have this lack of infrastructure, which is not only related to Lebanon and to Africa, although obviously it's unfortunately well distributed. What is your provision? What do you see in the future, in the next 10 years, both Jinan and Katerina? What do you think will be the future for youth? The next 10 years, how it looks like? How do you think it will look like?
Should I start first this time?
Please.
To me, the next 10 years, starting from this year, is the first one of 10. The youth, it's really code for action. We need the young people really to step up and to start to help my generation now. I feel my generation, we succeed to keep the world 20 years since the millennium, 2000. And now we are feeling a little bit exhausted because our ideas are not enough fresh. We need now the next generation from 2000 to step up, to help us, to boost us with more energy, to go to jump over these barriers that in our case it's not that we cannot overcome. We are really exhausted of ideas. Our energy, we need the energy boost, no? And I feel a lack of this enthusiasm in young people. I don't know if I hope in Lebanon is different, but here in Spain, as a well-accommodated country, it's something that it's really sad to me to see that the youngsters, 25, 30, they are not engaging to really make a change. And this is something that I really worried. Maybe it's because of the social media, how it's impacting today the life of the young people. They are not anymore participating. And if it's not really a social crisis, what in this moment Lebanon is facing, here I don't know if they will wake up, And this is something that I see as a challenge to my generation, to go back, to turn around and start to work on them and start to motivate them, because we need them. We need them to step up and to have a generational relief, not so much on a power level, because, politics normally it's led by the elders. You need to be 55 that you can enter in politics nowadays. If you see all the ladies high level that we can, as a woman in power, we can say now we have presidents, women, and here and there. They're quite old, So, but before the politics, before the on the top of the mountain, there is a lot of around that. There is a decision making. The things are happening. And we need now the young people to occupy these spaces. We need the young people to start to build these new emergency companies to overlap the next generation of companies, of doing of the things, of doing of the economy, of every innovation in the way of doing, And we need this because if not, the existing companies that established in these 20 years, we have the giants of Google, it's 20 years, Apple is 20 years. So these companies, they need to innovate, but without the young companies pushing them to change, they just stop up our development as a society, So I'm expecting the next 10 years to have really a lot of young companies, young people thriving in volunteering work, a lot of parties. I invite them to really step up in a huge wave. I'm a little bit, in the 80s, 90s, there was these student revolutions. And nowadays, universities, they're quiet. They are not anymore on the streets fighting for rights, for anything.
It's time for movements to go back to create a movement.
Party, I mean, with the COVID, they closed the discourse. Nobody go to the street to say something. I mean, the children were closed in Spain 3 months home arrest without any explication, without any reason. Nobody fight about this. To me, it was really, there was a huge attack against the young generations to not speak about them. We speak generally about society, but we need now to start to name them, give them visibility and say, guys, take the micro, take the stage.
So empowerment for engagement and innovation, and from innovation, the dream that you have just presented, Katerina. Thank you. Jinan, do you have a word to say? Yeah.
Yes. In fact, I see after 10 years, it doesn't just created without anything. It depends on the education that we are giving our students. So if we have this vision and we are preparing them to take the information, not only from school, maybe there will not be schooling if we, in a way or another, if there is no infrastructure or there is COVID and quarantine. But if they are prepared enough to capture all the knowledge from the whole world and they are ready, they are cognitively ready, how to deal with it, how to judge it, how to take decisions through it, how to build themselves, how to work with this knowledge to build their solutions, and they are very creative. Yes, we are going to reach these smart cities if they get the soil from education. So it depends on us as educators to prepare them quite enough to be as they should. Yes, we are facing here in Lebanon students. They don't believe in themselves that they can do a change. That's it. They don't believe that they can do a change. However, whenever we as educators believe in them and show them that yes, they can do a change, maybe in their classroom and then in their school and then with partnership in a community and municipality, they will do a change and they will make a difference.
This draws very well into research that says that in the United States, not in Lebanon, so not in a risky context, in the United States, the 85% of people lack of self-esteem. And obviously this develops into disengagement, non-participation, and lack of ability to innovate. So Katerina says, well, we need younger generation. We probably need the young generation, also middle-aged people who are engaged enough to tell to their children that they can, because if parents don't trust in themselves, they will very hardly be able to teach whatever. So there is a huge lack of trust across any society, regardless where we are, and regardless if they experience peace or war. So we have 2 minutes? No, not yet. But anyway, we take 2 supplementary minutes for a last call to action, because we are close to Christmas. So it's the right time to gather people around a dream. So what is your call to action, Katerina and Jinan? Just to think what you want to invite whoever what you want to invite to do something for make this dream of smart cities, of inclusive smart cities happen.
Maybe I should share my personal dream. And my personal dream is that everybody decide to go out of their commodity space, and share their uniqueness. If you have something that because of your experience, go and tell in the park with the other families. Go in the school and try to engage in some activity with the teachers, with the children. I believe if we start to share our knowledge, whatever we scrap it and we harvest it, we'll boost a little bit this education system to transform to something useful. And with this, we'll start to make this change that we needed. Not about only policies, but everything, it will happen by itself in a really self-organized, natural way. But I a little bit feel that people are not really, they believe there is a YouTube. The information is out there, everybody can go. And they nowadays, because of the social media, we don't feel any more interested to go to share our knowledge. And my dream is that we start each other, our friends, to say, this is very interesting. Go tell to the neighborhood. Go tell you there. Go and say your thing because it's unique and we need it. So I hope with this message, everybody will empower in their local community, in their local family circle, friend circle, to share more what they have harvested, what conclusions they arrive on all the topics. I mean, don't say we don't speak about Madrid,
Thank you, Katerina. Jinan.
I would like to invite all policymakers, community stakeholders, and leaders to be models of sustainable values first, and to work on spreading the values within the whole community members, because without these values, even when we reach to smart cities, they will not be sustained. The smart cities will not be sustained. So it starts with the values and with the skills and competencies through which all individuals are working with and are developing their nations and countries and communities and the whole globe, and sustaining it through helping each other, supporting each other, and helping this globe.
This is really a fantastic and motivating last session before Christmas. Thank you very much, Jinan and Katerina. I have to say that what you said drills perfectly in what TiiQu is doing. So my call to action, because it is true, we needed to share knowledge. We needed to express our uniqueness and believe in ourselves. Well, we do have a way to do that, and it's called My TiiQu. So if anyone wants to join, just reach me out. It will be good to have a chat about how we can empower and map knowledge and make it available to everyone, because the point of the future is very much about distributed system where everyone can give his little bit and the world can grow. So thank you very much to you all. And let's just say that we will meet again in the new year with other sessions.